Lucian taken away. Now we get into really murky draft territory. I've seen people complaining on Twitter about this happening in other regions. We'll see what ends up with the Lucian. We'll see what ends up with the Nami. But we enter the twilight zone of the bottom lane.
Like I was saying, like typically when the Lucian's gone, it is the Draven that's the next in line, and then anything beyond that is, I think, a little bit off center. We're gonna see what they go with. I like the Moakai going over for IG once again, even though it did get heavily shut down in game 1. It has just been such an oppressive pick so far in the LPL in terms of, I mean, just denying people entering through like chokes, marking off flanks, taking people out of choke points with that ultimate. And TT though, they want to go with the same level of aggression and flair that they had in game 1. And their read might be like what you were asking after that game is, what can IG do if they're shut down early? Maybe that's what TT are saying is, hey, we believe if we can set up the early game, find the leads against this team, they aren't experienced enough to have the comeback mechanisms built in to be able to find a win. All
right, so it's Lucian, Yuumi. This is like one of the really, really old school duos when Yuumi first came out, right?
It was like Lucian and Ezreal, yep.
Anything that had a dash that you could make sure the ult would land and you could make sure you hit your Qs, that was the strategy. Feels like a long time since that was the case, though. So we'll see how that's going to work out for IG as we head towards the bans. The Ksante for Hoya as well. Definitely feels like a big pick in the top side.
Yeah, not going to be... I mean, we know Ksante's still like an immovable object. I'd say not to the same degree as something like a Sion, so could open up.
But he is much more likely to kill you than Sion is.
But I feel like I liked Hoya's goal of game 1. It's like, it's not really about me having to kill. You should know me. It's as long as he can't
it's more about his zoning ultimates behind Dragon.
Exactly. So now we're going to have kind of ban swapped on both sides. I like IG still opting to take away some of these 80 carries. Zeri, I think a really good ban away going out in this bottom lane, and now Ezreal. So we have technically 5. I'll say 5 80 carries because even though Tristana was played as a mid lane in the last game, and that's why it's banned. Could have been brought down into this role. And now for the side of TT, I mean, you have like a really brawly, aggressive composition coming out from IG so far. So I like the Akali ban. I was wondering if maybe they would opt into a Silas as well. But saying, no, we're still going to pay respects up to You Should Know Me in that top side and take away yet another option for him. So that's 3 of the 4 champions we've seen him play so far off the board.
Yeah, I mean, we've now seen him play Jayce as well.
True.
And then, obviously, there's the Irelia that we talked about before. So those are the options of, like, what we've seen so far available to IG. But like we said before, we kind of want to see a bit more depth in that champion pool anyway. So let's wait and see what they are going to draft for themselves. And also, what ends up going alongside this Nami. I will say Caitlyn actually pairs up quite well with an Nami. Can play very safe versus something like a Lucian. And just aim for tower plates and pushing the wave instead. The Jayce is going to be headed to the mid lane by the looks of things for Ucal.
Oh.
Or not? I don't know, Lyric. What do we do?
I don't know. You know what? I like this. I like that
love it, but...
TT are coming in with some swagger today. Okay, so we're going to get Ziggs Nami in the bottom lane.
I mean, look, they buffed Nami so that it just amplifies abilities, right? So the bouncing bombs now doing extra damage with the Nami buff. The wave clear will be there. Yeah,
still not something we see, I don't want to say all too often, not really at all, coming out from them. But you clearly have this like plan of leaving your bot lane on an island. And I mean, with Jayce Elise, you know they're going to be setting up to play around that mid lane, especially in this game. And You Should Know Me not bringing out something new is going to default back to that Irelia. But his performance on Irelia in their last series was phenomenal. So this time around, I think IG having like a lot more versatility to their draft, where you have this Irelia who's going to be able to play out through the side lanes. You have great wave clear coming out in mid and this kind of impenetrable fortress in the Azir, and just solid team fight all around with this like 4-man core to where TT, it's kind of similar to game 1 in the sense that you have like great ability to take towers and neutral structures with Jayce in mid lane and also the satchel coming out from the Ziggs. But I feel like a lot of it's still about ramping up and fighting.
He wins every 1v1, so I'm going to assume it's him, but I'm ready to see what YSKM can do.
YSKM, we've definitely seen him in positions where it looked like he should have lost and was able to come out on top, but TT maybe looking to find a pick on him early.
They want it. I don't think they'll be able to find it, though. Level 1, it's usually pretty tough to turn these plays into anything. Plating procced. It's going to be all she wrote. And I will say, YSKM actually the one to get 5 gold there because he pinged a ward. So I call that a winning trade for IG.
Yeah, I mean, his health's going to be all the way back up by the time lane starts. Same with the bone plating. So he's going to be doing just fine up in that top side. And, I mean, you highlighted that you're interested in top side for IG. We hit on, like, mid-jungle for TT. It really feels like the whole top half of the map is really where this game should be played out. Huanfeng and Yao Yao should just be able to clear waves in the spot side, so I don't know if On should be able to find the opportunities that he wants, but who knows? Some kind of like cheeky brush plays or like a dash into flash.
Speaking of,
oh,
here's a cheeky brush play for you all. Yao Yao takes a chunk. Will be traded back slightly, but good little dodge from Wink as he just stays in the brush and takes a few bonus auto attacks there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel like Arn shouldn't be able to get too much done in the early game. Generally speaking, Huanfeng and Yao Yao should be able to play fairly safe. The thing I'm scared about is later on, I'm going to hold that door. Beichuan sneaking into the mid lane here. Dove, if he gets caught by the Cocoon, could be in big trouble. Ucal trying to move on up. Cocoon dodged away from. Dove just loses half of his health bar. But up in the top side, this is what I'm worried about, right? YSKM, think about the Irelia later on with a Yuumi on the shoulders. That is a terrifying prospect. Against any composition, in any situation, that's just terrifying.
You throw out like Moakai ultimate later on, Yuumi on an Irelia, they'll easily be able to close the gap before any poke should be able to come out. That's why a lot of this game's going to come down to like the decisiveness of IG to look for those plays. We can see in terms of early laning, they're going to do just fine. They have pressure the first few levels in the spot lane. They're having pressure up in top side. And Azir will do just fine up against the Jayce. Gideon wanting to take advantage of that, looking for the invade.
Yeah, looking for a 1v1. He has a level advantage, but it is an Elise. We'll see. Maybe he just actually wants to steal the Gromp around the 1v1, but he's walked into vision here. Here come the saplings. Beichuan gets the Gromp, and Gideon ends up kind of wasting his time here as Beichuan not even going to try and find the 1v1, just going to walk away. He's got wolves to deal with.
Beichuan going to be on his way, and now they're actually going to be the ones to set up an aggressive play. As Dove, you wouldn't really expect this to come through if they look mid, but Spiderling spotted out.
Yeah, Beichuan spotted in the end. This has been the most anticlimactic jungler 1v1 I've ever seen. They've seen each other for about an hour, and they both are just like eyeing each other up menacingly. Gideon trying to go in, again, can't. Dove and Ucal now here to eye each other up menacingly as well. YSKM and Hoya looking to eye each other up menacingly. Oh, it's menacing here in the river. 3v3. It's an absolute fist fight if anything actually happens. Hoya walks on in Giga Chat mode as he starts the fight off, but Gideon escapes with his life. Dove with 1 kill as Hoya will go down. The solo lanes of IG off to a tremendous start as Ucal accelerates to get to safety.
And that just felt so half-hearted coming out from TT. They're like, hey, we have enough burst. Gideon's low. Let's try and find the pick. Ucal didn't even have mana for that play. And the extended stare-off that you set up, we have our champions.
It's IG. It's always IG. And I will say, I don't care about trophies in the LPL. I don't care about veterancy. When it comes to stare-offs, IG your team. Like they never blink. Never, not a single blink.
And we saw here, right? They're hoping to just burst out Gideon to make it a 3v2, but Ucal not able to achieve anything. Has no mana walking into the play. He was already half HP before. Even just Dove standing onto the opposite side of that pixel rush prevents Ucal from even being able to walk in, which really felt like the difference maker. But all of that going on because both teams highly valuing topside scuttle, which just shows even more just like how this is going to be the area of attention.
Yeah. And now things get a little bit scary for TT because we're in the opposite situation from last game. So Ucal trying to get damage onto Dove, but he's now this straight pretty heavily. Both solo lanes being put behind this early on is really going to be a test for TT because IG are in their comfort zone. YSKM's got a lead, Dove has a lead, they can snowball, they can... I mean, they don't even have to play particularly fast necessarily.
No.
They just have the lead. All they have to do is hold that and leverage that into neutrals.
Especially if YSKM's one of the players with the lead, which right now 1-0 and 1 on the Irelia. You're not going to be able to match him in a side lane with either one of these champions coming on through. So you're going to have that kind of pressure. Sure, you'll have some of the poke like in mid lane standoffs against the Azir, but he'll be able to clear waves just fine. You're going to have to worry about the all-in still coming on through, and I like it. Gideon now maybe finding the wraparound towards mid, but I'm not sure if they know that Beichuan's already here.
Gideon spent more time in TT's blue quadrant than he has in his entire jungle this game so far. Just putting so many saplings down. Beichuan would love to come up towards this Grom. He's going to walk into some saplings? No.
He hasn't even been to his blue quadrant either. He's just been...
This is his blue quadrant, that's the thing. Or at least Gideon believes it. Nice little cocoon there. Spider lands it as well. Ignite procs. Gideon getting pretty low, but Dove is moving over. Ucal only just on the move here, but the jungle difference so far very heavily in favor of Beichuan. Looking to go for just the 1v1. Is this going to be a solo kill for Beichuan? Gideon massively overstepping.
Gideon having no escape routes left to him. Hoya was actually able to zone out You Should Know Me somehow. And with Ucal having time to come over to push away Dove, because he could have potentially been collapsed on from both sides, it just leaves Gideon exposed. Much needed kill for Beichuan as well. Just not having that annoyance to deal with. As we're going to see, looks like unable to find that all in to at least force out a heal from Yao Yao.
Yeah, Wink then also used that heal, which I'm not sure was intentional. They were definitely chilling. Perhaps a bit of a misclick there from Wink, but it means it's a heal for heal down in that bottom side. Not the greatest trade, honestly, for IG, considering how handedly they were with. Don't tell me that resets. Oh no, Gideon. It's not been a good couple of minutes for Gideon.
No, not having the best time, but still gets it in the end. This is
what's Frog doing?
Yeah.
Oh, even his Frog is betraying him. Poor Gideon. Not having a fun game. Oh dear. yeah, with one Frog. We're able to clear their wards away.
I just want to imagine the Frog like saw the 1v1 come through, and he's now like,
I'll go to mid lane.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go sit on Dove's shoulder.
It's one of those fair weather fans. He goes to the winning side. He's not loyal to anyone except himself.
He's only loyal to betting websites.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the place.
Oh dear. Well, Dove's returned to the mid lane. I'll be able to clear this wave away. It's almost 2,000 gold in favor of IG so far this game. It's a nice little start for themselves as they're looking to get a Herald as well. And this is exactly what we're talking about, right? You've got the advantage in the solo lanes, leverage that to get yourself some neutral objectives, and then snowball from there.
I mean, even your bot lane. We said, sure, like, IG's bot lane shouldn't be able to find the all-ins, but they've been able to maintain the pressure. Just the threat of that all-in is enough. Huanfeng consistently just clearing waves by his turret. With IG picking up Rift Shield on top side, IG not even able to answer with anything on the other side of the map because of the pressure that On's been able to keep up in this lane. And even things like the bot side Scuttlecraft being in favor of IG to make sure that they have all the vision they need.
Yeah. I'm curious to watch Huanfeng's Ziggs across the course of this game as well. Like, Ziggs is a champion that most professional AD carries have had to play over the last couple of years. There was a portion of time where it was extremely meta. But there are certain ways of clearing waves and certain orders of abilities that it's very easy to forget because he's a very spammy champion. And I feel like so far, falling pretty far behind in CS, a lot of that just down to the nature of you have to throw your Q at range to try and farm against the Lucian. And you inevitably push the wave a little bit there, so you do end up losing out. But
I love it.
I'm just curious to watch the mechanics.
Oh, I was hoping Gideon was going to go back into TT's blue side jungle. Instead, going for a gank on the Hoya.
Don't blame him for going for this one. As everything landing here, the roots come on through. This is inevitably a kill for YSKM. And now they move up to the top side to grab themselves some plates as well, because guess what? There's a Herald in tow.
Elise going to be able to funnel as much onto this Irelia as they want. Beichuan as well, going to be spotted out. It's going to pull the rotation over from Ucal, which will set up for Dove to be able to push this wave in mid. So, really nice movement from IG across the map. Kind of just not only finding the kill, but pushing and pulling different members to allow Prio in other places.
Taking a look at the gold. Look at that top lane. Over 1,000 gold lead for YSKM so far this game. That is something terrifying to be looking at.
800 in the mid lane as well, like going in favor of Dove just from, you know, the bit of CS lead he has on top of the kill and the assist. So it is coming down to those soul lane picks. And YSKM already hitting that point where, like we said, no one should really be able to match him in the side lane. But Gideon now...
Oh no! He's blast coned in! He's walked straight into the trap there, flashes out. Can he escape with the healing? The Yuumi shield comes on through. The bouncing bomb hits the wall. And Ucal with the shock blast. Oh, Gideon with the fancy footwork somehow gets out alive.
You know, I just imagine Gideon as one of those like 1950s newspaper cartoons of like some very unlucky yet lucky guy like walking down the road in New York. There's like a pothole open, falls in, but you fall in on like a boat that brings you like, I don't know, to some Great Lake. And, you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'm going to hold that thought because Beichuan being forced out of the back of the pit as Gideon throws the sapling into the newspaper stand. Oh, I know, that's a brush. Sorry.
Unlucky yet luckiest guy on this rift.
Yeah.
Or just has a Yuumi alongside him.
Well, that's true. He does have that. And also is Moakai, so there is plenty of healing going on.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Herald comes down to the mid lane, though. They didn't use it up top in the end. It'll be Dove to be the benefactor of that influx of gold there. 2 plates taken down, maybe a third if Dove can go for it. As Hoya and YSKM going for the 1v1, but YSKM zips on back out of tower range before Hoya can ult.
And now, I mean, YSKM having that solo pressure up in top side. IG doing a nice job as a team controlling now the red quadrant of TT's jungle to make sure that nothing is able to come through there. And they're just going to keep stacking up this gold lead with Dove just punishing in this mid lane matchup.
Yeah, I love just the pressure that IG are putting on, because it's not been the most action-packed game in terms of kills, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening, right? Gideon permanently in Beichuan's jungle so far this game, and YSKM, Dove aren't all very willing to move towards that jungler, and Wink's basically abandoned the bottom lane. Hoya trying to get it all in onto YSKM. The teammates are here. What can we do on the Irelia? Flashing forwards, looking for Beichuan here, but the Blade Surge on cooldown. Can't close the gap, and will go down in the end. Hoya with a shutdown.
I was a little scared that he was going to do it
so
again.
was I.
He had enough minions to play with, but the CC, the damage was there from Thunder Talk. And, I mean, going to be a nice injection of gold over to their side. I think the problem is, like, the longer these lanes are isolated, that's what IG are thriving on right now. We're going to see YSKM starting it off, does jump in, but with all these members here now, tries to get away, doesn't end up getting bubbled, tries to get the damage down onto Beichuan, walks into the brush, denies the vision coming on through, and then now with nothing left in the tank, we have a fight, actually.
Wait,
wait, what?
Ucal's died. I don't know what happened, but Ucal is down. Maybe we'll get a replay of the stuff that happened during the replay. I certainly hope so. But now Dove has a ton of space to just hit away at that mid lane tower. You can see both Yao Yao and Beichuan having to defend in that mid lane, which means now An is completely free in the bottom side.
Anywhere IG finds a kill, it's just opening up something somewhere else on the map. So YSKM and Dove being the large benefactors so far. Now On finally going to get some more gold under his belt. Already sitting on that Gale Force, will put more threat on the long range kind of poke composition coming out from the side of TT. We'll have to be careful though, as Ucal will now come to answer.
Yeah, let's see as what happened here. Okay, nice little ultimate from Dove there. And then roots galore as in comes Gideon. Easy kill. And Azir grabbing the benefit.
Yeah, Ucal tried to flash away, didn't manage to do so, flashing off to the side, but still getting caught and getting brought down. Dragon a minute and a half away, so that's why we see now both teams angling down towards spot. But TT, they're getting pincered.
Here we go, Gideon just going to start this one off, and Yao Yao ain't exactly tanky. Beichuan next on the chopping block. Gideon gets the slow with his Bramble Smash. Can they follow up for more? Twisted Advance comes through, and Dove should be there to finish the dodge. In the meantime, Huanfeng's dead on the top side of the screen. There goes the jungler. TT are being picked apart, and now the roots come on through. Ucal dodges. He's under the tower, but the wave is going to abandon him. There are no minions for IG to work with. That's the only problem they've got, but let's be honest, there's no rush on this one. Dove goes under the tower.
Whoa.
He goes down. Ucal surviving as Gideon tries to escape. Just about lives.
I mean, if he could have found two there, that would have been massive. Still a 1-for-1 in the end.
It's a shutdown as well.
IG should be able to pick up this turret off the back of this, but shutdown in hand. TT now should have first move up to this Herald. We can see Hoya starting this one up right now. We're going to get a replay of it. It was, I mean, TT invading the enemy jungle of IG. Gideon had wrapped around, so we see Yao Yao actually get pincered on. And then Huanfeng trying to join up with the rest of his team, gets caught out by On. Does have to use the flash and some dashes to get involved, but still, just members of TT going down one by one.
This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. TT at least get themselves a Herald, but they're 5,000 go down at this point. We're only 16 minutes in. It's a lot in favor of IG. And the thing is, it's not like their composition is going to fall off massively. They've got Azir, for God's sake. Like, they're still going to be terrifying later on in the game.
I'd favor them. I think later on they're gonna be incredibly scary. Just like, sure, again, you might not have like a true tank like the opposing side, but you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned like the Irelia jumping in with the Yuumi. We can see the Moakai just zooming in, being able to get in there faster, throw out his ultimate, the Yuumi ultimate coming out. Just like there's a lot of ways to lock the member of TT's combination down. That would be a little bit easier for TT to manage had they been ahead and they're able to choke out with vision, throw down the accelerated shot class and the bombs to prevent that point from happening. But now it will be much harder. They still will always have like pick potential there. Cocoon, alongside either Jayce or Ziggs, should be able to just delete a member of IG. But that will rely on some missteps coming out from Invictus Gaming.
Certainly would. Hoya is in trouble here. He's going to use his Ghost. Perhaps that'll be enough to get him out as the roots come on through as well. He's actually going to run towards enemy territory. So we're going to try and ult through the wall, I think. There we go, 1v1, but the entire squad follows in. Nice bit of play there from Dub to get over that wall, and Wink just jumping on Gideon's shoulder.
Was a nice try from Hoya to like realize towards the end there, like, hey, run up, get the ult over the wall, but in the end, like you said, doesn't mean anything. All of IG following through, and TT not really left in a position where they could answer with anything, but they have done a nice job of at least establishing vision control up towards this top half of the map. Potential set up for some of those picks that we were talking about. Dragon nowhere close to coming up, still 4 minutes away since that one did just previously go down, and Baron will be the next neutral that we're looking at.
Well, 6,000 gold lead, and the thing is, we do have a Ziggs in the game, so Lyric, we could be in for a long one. It's highly possible that Huanfeng just clears waves for a very long time. One thing I will say, it's not really as true as it used to be. At least the quote-unquote new Baron. I mean, it's a long time since the Baron changed, but that change eradicated things like Ziggs and Nemy, just indefinitely stolen
Give me
games.
Season 4 complexity 70-minute game NALCS Ziggs.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was against, but I do remember that game.
I don't want that back. I'm okay that I enjoyed it at the time. I'm okay that
I also don't want it back. I do want Gragas mid lane back. Deathfire, Grasp, like Fizz, shenanigans, Kerp, trackball, you know,
oh, man.
all
Those
the
are the days.
awesomeness.
I remember that there was that one game in EU LCS where it was like Xpeke and Froggen, I think, and it was like the race to 300 CS. Who could get the record?
You might need to pause on that one, though.
Like 26 minutes or something. Here we go. And there we go.
Didn't need to be a long pause. That was the big potential we talked about, right? Cocoon comes out, you have the Jayce there to provide damage as well. Gaia providing support, and Duff is just gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, race to 300 CS.
I mean, yeah, they got 300 CS.
Oh,
Oh,
no!
my goodness! YSKM forced to flash. And they'll take that. They'll take a bonus summoner.
Well, get a summoner, they get his ult out of it as well. YSKM also had just TP down to this lane, so that's now TP offline to where, for the side of TT, that is actually one of the areas you can try and find an advantage. You don't only have TP advantage now. You already came into the game running 3 TP, so could set up for some interesting plays on sides where if you're Hoya, you feel like comfortable playing incredibly aggressively, and like Ucal can match up. And if there's a cross-map play made, you guys still have TP to respond after you find the pick. So that would be a lot more relevant towards your solo laner playing towards the bot side, because typically the enemy team would then try to force a Baron.
Or force a kill onto Beichuan, perhaps. Falcons out onto the Wolves. Gets out with his life, but here come the army of the cats. Hoya's behind enemy lines here. Does have that ultimate as YSKM spotted him out. Gideon could be in trouble. Hoya needs to blast that R button, but he's going to be on the wrong side of the play. And it's all going to go wrong here, trying to escape, but even Dove is behind him. Hoya dashes over the wall. No ways to get out. Okay, Gideon to follow and finish the kill. And in the meantime, Huanfeng just going to satchel his way out to safety.
Gideon did commit his flash to be able to find that kill. Hoya almost able to escape.
Did you see that? He jumped all the way from Grom to the Scuttle Crab. Oh, that was cool. Anyway, sorry I interrupted you completely. Baron is underway.
and no vision for the side of TT. It's going to be hard for them to force their way in. And I don't know if they stop this one. IG have the tools to turn. Dove still having that streamer shuffle available.
And there it is, trying to find it, but Beichuan survived for the time being. There we go, Baron down and Beichuan down. Ucal wants to get Dove, wants to punish. 1-for-1 in the fight, but it's 3v4. And Baron on the side of IG. Yao flashing over towards the rest of his team. They're on the wrong side of the map though, but I don't think IG care, because Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds. They're leaning towards that side, but Hoya's here. TT, I'm not sure they're done with the fight just yet. It feels like they want more.
Yeah, TT hoping they can find something, because they were angling around, but Gideon forcing the ultimate. TT are going to have to run back. I don't know if IG can chase this, but they do have a Yuumi.
Here we go. Bubble comes on into Gideon as well, though. He's down. YSKM the next target. Ucal low on HP. They've got to get out of here, surely. On the front line. And it will just be a 1-4-0. What a tense game.
Both teams knowing the need to take advantage of these small windows, especially for TT. They feel how far behind they are, and they know, hey, even though one member went down, we have this position, we need to try to find a pick. We're going to see here IG trying to use numbers advantage to pull them in. Emperor's Divide comes out, does end up knocking back Yao, but that's about it. Beichuan able to jump away with the repel. He still goes down, but there are some members of TT able to run down Dove, as IG were still finishing off that Baron. So we're not going to get to see the rest of the play of why TT want to angle, but it's because Hoya did TP into mid lane, so they theoretically did have like a good pincer on the members of IG.
And in the extended play as well, that pick is worth even more because you remove a Baron buff from the side of IG. That's 2 Baron buffs that were taken away. Still 3, still definitely worthwhile for IG, still definitely increasing their gold as they get themselves a second Drake for the game as well. 11-6 on the scoreboard. And it's feeling good for IG, but we're still seeing signs of life from TT, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, TT haven't given up. They're still trying to find as many picks as they could. It still doesn't really look like it's getting easier, but hey, the game goes long enough, an opportunity opens up, death timers continue to increase. It could always lead you to a situation where you can find an avenue to either end or pick up a massive neutral objective.
And like you mentioned before, it's not like TT are slow at taking towers if they do find that window.
Yeah, we just saw Ucal getting a bounty up in topside, able to push that wave in. It seems like TT are starting to respect the fact that, hey, it's getting too hard to just outright fight with these guys in a 5v5 team fight. Let's put some side pressure on, try and get some more gold onto this Jayce so it can be more of a menace.
And once again, Ucal having a fantastic game. Farm looking really good. 3-2-0. Like the fact that the early game went as badly as it did, and he's still actually on a positive KDA after all of these scraps. Fair play to him. Great performance in the mid lane. It's not quite the same as what we're seeing from YSKM, as he's on more than 10 CS per minute. With 2-1-2, with 2 finished items. The man is a menace.
Especially the fact that IG have mostly been picking off Hoya. Whether it's been Hoya in a side lane or Hoya when he's like pivoting back from like top towards mid or in his own jungle, IG have always managed to catch him out in transition, and they've really felt the punishment. Is TT just going to keep him the strat of being like, hey, we can't match you, just keep finding gold.
Let's see if we can just get Ucal to the point where 1 shock blast is enough to win the game. That's the strategy right now, it feels like, from TT, is another bounty taken. Ucal will reset. Is IG trying to set up for a tier 2 in this top side? And remember, Huanfeng on the Ziggs should make it fairly difficult to siege, as the Baron buff is no longer there.
Struggl's Grudge was also just picked up by Ucal, so is starting to get more of those items under his belt, so IG won't be able to get this turret down. This could have even been a potential angle to fight and engage with YSKM on that bot side. Does have his teleport if anything happened, but TT's comp is bursty.
Here we go, final chapter comes on through. The bubble to try and deny things. There's a tidal wave as well. So Arn actually takes a huge chunk, but Hoya eventually should go down here, surviving for the longest time, but eventually eradicated. TT just desperately trying to hold on to the tower. YSKM not even needing to teleport so he can continue to pressure in the bottom side of the map.
Ucal rooted up for that exchange. Feels like he was the member who you would need to do damage in that situation, not able to get anything done. And like you said, YSKM able to push down in bot side. They're stealing away these camps in the enemy jungle. Look at the litter of wards throughout TT's topside jungle as well, coming out from IG. Yeah. Just so much information coming on through. But you hit on earlier how hard it can be to close for the side of IG when you're up against like the wave clear coming out from the Ziggs. They've been an annoyance with the split push coming out from the Jayce. And we're starting to see that. They're only sitting on 2 Drakes as well, so it's not like we're even that close to a threat of a Soul or an Elder to force the members of TT out. It feels like maybe your next avenue will be something like threatening a Baron and trying to bring TT out of their base, out from the stalling that way.
And that's the thing I was going to mention, actually, is that, you know, all of this pressure going on the top side, yes, they get a kill, but there were no neutral objectives up on the map. But 45 seconds until the Baron comes back up, a minute until the next Drake as well. Does feel like that's the next window for IG to find themselves something on the map, and TT feel that pressure. Rappel comes out. Beichuan's in a really rough spot, forced to flash just before these neutrals come up as well. So stealing going to be that much harder for Beichuan. There's perhaps a fight here. YSKM's moving in though. I don't know if TT want this one. It's 4v5 in favor of TT. The TP coming out from the top side. Gideon the target for the time being and pulled into enemy territory. But Yao Yao low on HP, pulled back on in. There's a pick for TT. Can they find more? Hoya on the front line. Dove pulled back in as well. Hoya doing so much work in this fight. Ucal just clearing some vision. Inside track for the mid lane for IG. But with a Ziggs, with a Jayce, I feel like the wave should go down. The damage out from Ucal is horrifying. Unforced away here. TT somehow keeping themselves in the game.
I mean, TT find a pick, but you would have loved to be able to find more off of that. The problem is your damage is so like cooldown and rotation based that once they come out to find that initial pick, you're left waiting a few seconds as Ucal might be able to find on. He's going to be able to get away in the end, and now TT. They started to angle towards the dragon, but it looks like they might be... Yeah. Okay, no, I thought they were going to pivot up towards Baron instead.
This composition is terrifying, actually. With the Jayce and the Ziggs, now that they're starting to actually hit hard, it feels really difficult for IG to stay in any fight for an extended length of time.
Well, the thing is they need to be able to get in the fight, right? That was the problem with that last one. Once Gideon got ulted over the wall, none of the other members could follow up. Because you could see TT realize that if IG get in touching distance, they still deliver just more outright DPS and will be able to take it. Yeah. They need to be able to kite them and keep them at arm's length.
Okay, IG feeling the pressure, just going to start this Baron off. Hoya on the front line, but no ultimate available as Beichuan has to use the repel. He's going to be caught. No flash this time around. Low on HP and should be taken down by Dove. Hoya cannot protect his jungler this time around. We need some of those miracle shot blasts to come on out. YSKM closing the gap. Triple stun on the Irelia. The resets come through in the Blade Surge as Ucal forced away. Double for You Should Know Me. And Dove isn't done just yet. He wants Ucal as well. The Emperor's Divide stops the Jayce getting his damage out. And IG, they take themselves a fight and they might just go to the base.
Huge play coming out from You Should Know Me. Dove following up with the damage as well. And it looks like IG are going to manage to do it. Only 2 members of TT up, so they're going to be able to push down this inhibitor, but not even going to opt to try to end and stall out Ucal's base. Looks like they want to go with the safer route of trying to pick up this Baron.
Yeah, I could totally understand that as well. Teleport available for You Should Know Me, so if you see too much of a push from Ucal, you can even punish that as well. But again, Beichuan, no flash at the start of this play.
And this is why flashes, since it is so important against this composition that wants to run you down, that wants to get close. We're going to see here, though, it's YSKM able to follow through. Huge ultimate across 3 members of TT, followed by the stun.
Oh! We've got a fight in real time as well. Like you said, YSKM popping up in the last one. Hoya to go down as YSKM on the front line. It's a good little bubble, but it's not enough. Beichuan turns golden, but Ucal has been found by the Irelia. This is the combo we were talking about. Irelia Yuumi is just too much.
Able to run them down. Ucal not having that flash, isn't able to escape. And now, I mean, Baron in the pockets of IG. We see more items coming out as well. A stopwatch just picked up by YSKM. So even if some of these picks do start coming off, we're getting even more defensive tools from the side of IG, which when your head can just feel so good. You already have the damage, you know, to explode them in these fights. It's just being able to get through that onslaught that TT had put up. But TT, I feel like now they're in, like, ignoring the, even if we ignore the gold, I really feel like that flashpoint is like, just so crucial to their composition because we see it every time, right? Yuumi ultimate, Moakai ultimate thrown out, and 1 or 2 members of TT always getting rooted down. It's giving time for YSKM to get in there, find a knee, throw in his ultimate, and Dub just layering damage on top. And that's even ignoring On, who's kind of have like these flashy plays off to the side, just instantly deleting a member as Lucian.
Yeah, does feel like this has been a fairly brutal game. TT are clinging on. I will say they're doing a good job to just hold on, but it's never felt like they're the ones in pole position.
I will say this has still felt like one of IG's messier games compared to a lot of the other wins. It's been dominating. They've
Hang on, we got to dive at the top side. YSKM has to turn gold and a tidal wave to deny reinforcements. Can he survive for the time? The Yuumi comes in, but it's not enough. And now Gideon on the front line. Hoya surviving. Dove with the Emperor's Divide. Triple kill, make it a quadra. Dove comes in to save the day.
And now IG gonna be able to push to bring the series to 1-1. TT might have been a thorn in their sides, but still IG a commanding lead throughout the game. And it was a matter of time before they were able to close it out. 23 kills on the board as well. They were just picking TT apart.
And you know, the whole game had been about YSKM really, but Dove comes in that final fight. And he had a good game for himself. Just cements it as potentially an MVP performance with that quadra kill.
Yeah, and I feel like it was one of those things where, to me, it was a lot about how they're finding the fights, right? Things like the Yuumi and Moakai able to come on through. And then, like, the other three members were the ones dishing out the damage to be able to follow up.
Yeah, fantastic stuff coming out from IG. And I'm glad that we get 3 here. I'm really glad that this series goes to 3 because I feel like we saw TT clearly having a strategy that could shut out IG in game number 1, not let them have that win condition. Then IG game number 2, they show that they find ways to win these lanes. In fact, that early skirmish, the stare down in the river that set everything up for them. And now we get to see where this story ends in game number 3. Well, it's poetic.
And I still like what TT have gone for. I like that IG are still keeping to their, we'll say, they're still bringing their sauce, you know? They aren't changing sauces. We're still getting things like the Irelia up in the top
still
side.
Delicious.
It's still great. But for TT, I wonder if they're just going to keep doing this. Keep bringing out things like the Elise, keep bringing out some of these more like early game-centric laners, and say, hey, game 1, it worked incredibly well. Game 2, we had like that play early on in jungle topside go awry, and that led to IG having the advantage the whole game. If that doesn't happen, maybe just gamble on it going like game 1 again.
Yeah. I mean, there's a conversation as well of like, okay, if you're doing this good of a job at stalling IG as TT, maybe there's a conversation where you need to go for more scaling on your side and play for the late game. Can you risk that though? Because then you have so much weaker in the early game. Like, it's a debate. I mean, what do you think the strategy is then, if not scaling?
I think TT just keep going for what they're going for. You know, I mean, it worked game 1. This game, you have some things go askew in the early game. It is a risk. You are flipping a coin by going this sort of strategy, but just with what we've seen from TT so far, I don't know if I have much confidence in them opting into like what could be weaker lanes. I guess there could be drafts where you come in with scaling and you still do have lane pryos. Things like the Azir are obviously like great examples of that. GP in a lot of matchups as well.
Yeah.
So I guess it just depends on how the next draft pans out. But you know me, I don't care about what's right or what's winning.
Or at least I should know you.
I like personality. I want teams to just go for what they think is good. Even when RNG went for that comp that really didn't fit the meta the other day, but was a very RNG-esque comp.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. I like that. That's what you come to the LPL for, to see teams play the way they want to play.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things when we get. I mean, like game 1 that we saw today, like completely wacky, completely different, and I love every second of it. Jhin support coming on out. It's beautiful to see, and we'll see what kind of wackiness we're getting game number 3 of this series. We're going the distance. IG